Yo, what is up, everyone? Shoot the Rock back here with another college football playoff ranking reaction video. Tonight we had the final college football playoff rankings of the regular season released, as Sunday will be the next rankings released, and that will be the official 4 teams. And boys, there are lots to decide before we get there. So first, we're going to get into it here, show you guys these rankings that, in case you missed it, were revealed on the show tonight. And it was a heated show for those of you who did not watch. So, no surprise, Georgia remains number 1. Michigan, following their win over Ohio State, is number 2. They jump up. Washington jumps up to 3. Florida State is back in at 4. And then where it gets spicy, Oregon is 5. So they still remain at 5, ahead of Texas, which is key. Then Ohio State falls all the way to 6. I think they're the only team playing this weekend that still has a slight chance to be playing for a national title. And then number 8 is Alabama. So we're just going to go one team by team here. So we're going to start first with these Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia, they are winning in. They are winning in. I think this game, this Alabama-Georgia SEC title game, is definitely a winning in. The winner of that is in. Georgia, what I'm trying to say is just about at the point where I think, regardless of result, they could make it. If it isn't for the fact that Texas and Florida State are still in the mix, I think if either of those two teams lose, Georgia's going to make it regardless of the result of their game. Georgia is a 6-point favorite heading into the game at 4 Eastern on Saturday on CBS. And the way the Bulldogs have been playing lately, I have a hard time seeing them lose regardless. I know the first video of these I did, ranking reaction, I said I could see Alabama pulling it off, but I mean, Alabama barely escaped in the Iron Bowl last week. Georgia, Carson Beck's been playing a lot better. Big win over Ole Miss a couple weeks ago, and I mean, took care of business pretty easily this past week against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. The other game that I think is winning in, and the game of the weekend in my opinion, Washington and Oregon. These two, they get a rematch. Like I predicted, this game is going to be on Friday night, 7 on ABC. Right now, Oregon, 9.5-point favorites. There must be something I'm missing that I don't know how they're that big of favorites, to be honest. But yeah, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Washington has definitely struggled as of late. They're undefeated, and like I said, I think they win, they're in. Yeah, ESPN FPI is giving Oregon a 75% chance to win. I think this is going to be a close game, to be honest. But Bo Nix, man, he could win the Heisman with a game this weekend. I think Oregon, for sure, if they avenge that loss to Washington, they'll get in, despite maybe having a little bit weaker resume. But, I mean, that's essentially an undefeated season if they beat Washington. They're given a second chance here to wipe away that one loss that they had. And then Washington, obviously, if Washington wins, then once again they beat Oregon. I mean, that first game in Seattle could have gone either way. It was a back-and-forth game, came down to a missed field goal at the end. You know, it looked like maybe Bo Nix had a winning drive, then Michael Penix had a winning drive, left Bo Nix too much time. But Washington ends up getting the win on this one. Gosh, like I said, I think it'll be a close game. So that's what's really throwing me off about this. There must be like some injury or something that I'm just like not picking up on. Like I said, I mean, Washington barely survives Wazoo. Like a lot of close games for the Huskies down the stretch. I'm not gonna lie. But like I said, they won the first time, so I have a hard time counting them out. But I probably will go with Oregon to win this game, which I think, in my opinion, would put Oregon in the college football playoff. The number 2 ranked team in the country, the Michigan Wolverines, big win against Ohio State, their rivals this past weekend. If you're a Buckeye fan like myself, very disappointing game, a game that could have gone either way, especially considering a Roman Wilson touchdown that certain booths may have ruled that an interception. I, again, biased, personally thought it probably should have been, but then again, Ohio State should have had an incomplete pass earlier in the game. At the end, it didn't matter. McCord threw an interception the next play. Again, a game that I wish the Big Ten would go like the Pac-12 here. Get rid of divisions. I mean, Iowa. I'm sorry, I have friends that are Iowa fans. They don't stand a chance this weekend. They don't stand a chance. The Big Ten title game was determined last weekend. I mean, Michigan is 23.5-point favorites in a conference championship game. That's ridiculous. The Wolverines should cruise, and to be honest, in a similar spot like Georgia, I think Michigan, almost regardless of result this weekend, is going to be in, unless, you know, if, say, a Florida State and a Texas both win, and Michigan somehow gets upset. And then maybe, I mean, if Georgia gets upset too, then I think they would still be in over Michigan. I mean, they're ranked ahead of them right now, have better wins. Really the only big win on Michigan's resume. I mean, the Penn State win's solid, but their big win obviously is this one from this past weekend. And moving on. So this is where it gets spicy. So Florida State, 2.5-point favorites hosting Louisville. Jordan Travis is injured and out, but it didn't matter. They still took care of business. This is past week against the Florida Gators, winning 24-15 with Rodemaker throwing for 134 yards. Louisville and then falls to their in-state rival in Kentucky. So, I mean, Louisville's a horrible team. Florida State will not make the playoff with a loss to Louisville. And if I'm being honest, we could have a precedent set here just because of the Jordan Travis injury. I think if Florida State does not look good this weekend, like even if they win but it's a close game just because of how poor Louisville's losses are, I think we could see Florida State be the first ever undefeated team to not make the playoff. I mean, we saw the first ever playoff. They were undefeated, and they got absolutely hosed, just run out of the building by Oregon and Marcus Mariota. So I think that kind of sets precedent in the committee. I mean, Kirk Herbstreit brought that up on the show. And by the way, if you were not watching that show, like I said, it got pretty feisty. Kirk Herbstreit and Greg McElroy were going back and forth over who should be in. Like I said, with Georgia, how I think they're almost kind of in regardless. That's what Herbstreit was saying. And McElroy was being like, how can you say that? I mean, Booger was going at him too. So it was getting a little tense and getting heated. So it was kind of entertaining to watch. But yeah, like I said, I think Florida State is the team that is in the most danger. They need style points, kind of like Ohio State, the first ever playoff, referencing that again. Ohio State got in because they had a big blowout win. I think Florida State needs that if they want to make sure that they get in no matter what. And then the last game of the weekend, the team that I think could jump Florida State with a big performance like that. Another team needs to win to be in, probably needs a pretty resounding win just because of the nature of their schedule. I mean, they do have the win against Alabama. That is really what is making this the whole process so complicated, in my opinion, and why I think that it's becoming so contested is Texas's win early in the season against Alabama. That's the only one of these teams in the mix that has a win against another one. Right now, they're both on the outside looking in, but Texas is a 15-point favorite against Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on Saturday on ABC. They're given a 88% chance to win. So Texas lost to Oklahoma. Obviously, Oklahoma State beat Oklahoma. That's what has Oklahoma State here in the conference title game. I'd say there's no shot for the Cowboys to make it. So this is once again, they can play spoiler here at 9-3 on the season. You can play spoiler and keep Texas out. But the way Texas has been playing, I don't see that happening. I think the Longhorns win. And like I said, here's what I'm going to say. Texas has a big blowout win. Like, they are not going to take their foot off the gas in this game. That is how Texas is going to jump a Florida State, how they could jump an Oregon potentially even. And so I think Texas, while they don't control their own destiny, in kind of a way they do, if they can get a big win, blow a team out, like I said, that's what it took for Ohio State. They jumped all over Wisconsin, won like 56-0, might have even been even more than that. And then, teams kind of cancel each other out. I mean, Oregon and Washington, they split 1-1. Maybe that cancels them out, especially if Texas wins. So maybe that's how Texas could sneak in. But, I mean, like I said, right now I have Oregon winning that game. So it's going to be hard for Texas to jump them just because of how the rankings are working. So, these are what my final predictions here are going to be for this weekend. Going with, on Sunday, we're going to see the Georgia Bulldogs at number 1. We're going to see the Michigan Wolverines at number 2. I mean, this is my lock of the weekend. There's no way Michigan loses. Hopefully I jinx them. Number 3, I think will be the Oregon Ducks. I think Oregon Ducks, like I said, I think they'll beat Washington. I think they get 3. So it'll be Oregon versus Michigan in one playoff game. And then the other one, like I said, I think they're going to do it. I think the Texas Longhorns come out guns a-blazing. And whether that means Florida State loses, or I just think it could be a close game, and without their quarterback, the committee's done it before, injuries they take into account. I don't know really how to feel about that. While we do want the best games here as fans, most entertaining, it's really hard for me to leave a team out that hasn't lost a game out of the college football playoff, but I think that's what's going to happen. So I think we're going to have Texas and Georgia as one semifinal and Oregon, Michigan as the other. Make sure to let me know down below in the comments what you guys think, what your predictions are for this weekend. Thank you guys so much again for watching. Make sure to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss a video. Hopefully, going to have some more college basketball content coming soon with college football coming to a close. And people always say American Thanksgiving is kind of a big cutoff point in the NHL. Well, that was last weekend, so I'm hoping to make some NHL content coming soon. Maybe even Boomer Bust returns. You never know. So make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya. Peace.